Hello, everyone. Hopefully, you're having a good Sunday. I did say I was going to start in 5 minutes, so that gives me another minute. I'm going to go ahead and wait just a couple more seconds, making sure I got my slides up. Nothing too fancy, just a little bit of info. All right, I'll go ahead and get started. I think I'm good to go. Okay, before I get started, I just wanted to say if anyone has any specific questions about the core team, any of the core team positions, or anything specific about the club that has been on your mind, go ahead and just drop it in the chat. You don't have to wait till the end to put your questions. I want to encourage you guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in now. And I have my stream of questions right here, so I can go ahead and take a look at that as we go. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my slides up. I don't have too much, just a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see the slides. I have a couple things on here just to kind of tell you guys a little bit about the core team positions that are available, how to apply, and then some frequently asked questions that I've heard in the past from my previous DSC and that I've heard from other DSCs. And then I'll be happy to go through some other questions that you guys might have. Okay, so first up, what is the core team? So the core team is the DSC leadership team, which is broken into three branches, as you can see on the screen. The logistical team, and the logistical team is focused on leading the core team and also managing the club overall to ensure success of the club. The next branch is the technical team. And this you could see by looking at the core team positions is just made up of the technical leads. And the technical leads are focused on running workshops, mentoring club members. And when I mean mentoring the club members, if club members need help, they ask questions on any of the topics that we're going over. That's when the tech leads can kind of jump in and assist. The last branch is the non-technical team. I think the non-technical team is probably the most important. I know that kind of sounds weird because we're a technical club, but let me tell you why. The technical team is focused on coordinating events, growing awareness of our club, and also managing and creating relationships with other clubs and organizations, which is critical to the success and boosting the awareness of our club and growing the club and making sure that this club is something that sustains after all of us graduate. One question just popped in. I'm going to go ahead and answer that. How many workshops are going to be done by the core team or hosted by the core team? So that's kind of a good question. I guess what you might be asking is what is going to be the frequency of the events that we have? Previously, we tried to have like one event per month, whether this be like a cloud study jam or a workshop that's geared towards something specific, like intro to GitHub, Python, machine learning, something like that. Or if there's something that's like if people want to learn Unity, then we can do something like that. I've never touched Unity, but if it's something that people want to learn, we can do that. So basically, to answer your question, like one main thing that we can focus on per month, because if we do too much, then it just becomes way too much to manage. Maybe the events are not as enjoyable. And it's also a lot more stress on us as students on the core team because this is not a job. This is a club. This is supposed to be something fun that we do outside of our coursework and our jobs and stuff like that. So try to keep it manageable, but also kind of have something new and fresh to do every month, which I think is something that's pretty fair. Good question. And I can talk a little bit about a little bit more about workshops and what workshops usually look like and stuff a little bit later on. Next up is what positions are available. First of all, why isn't even this in full screen? Let's fix that real quick. All right, that's better. I don't want to see the search bar on top. Okay, what positions are available? I didn't put it on the slides because I'm going to go ahead and pull up the site. So if you go to our website, which is dscucf.com, and click core team roles, you can actually see what positions are available. So let me actually remove my screen share real quick. And what I'm going to do is bring up the core team roles real quick so we can take a look at that. All right. Okay. All right. So if you go to our website and then click the core team roles, you can see this document right here. So it says a little bit about our mission, and then it breaks it into the branches that I'm talking about. So the logisticals first, the president/lead being myself, then the co-leads, and project leads. So you can see the bullet points under it kind of show and outline the main responsibilities of the role, but in essence, the co-lead is pretty much like vice president, but there's a high possibility that I might have multiple co-leads because these are kind of like my wing men and women next to me that can help me when I'm not around. Can definitely fill my shoes. That's really something that's important. Then the project leads also is going to really play a really big role when we get closer to the solution challenge. Then going into the technical positions, the only technical position is going to be the tech lead. Let me talk a little bit about the tech lead for a second. I don't want anyone to get really overwhelmed when they look at the tech lead because you see all these. The first thing my eye jumps to is all these skills that I listed. By no means am I saying you need to know all of these things to be a tech lead. The main purpose of a tech lead is to be the person that is going to be able to help students when they run into problems, to help learn some of these technologies ahead of time before we do workshops, or at least get more comfortable with them to a point where you can teach them in a workshop. And some of the technologies that we might go over are the ones that are listed. You can see the front end, back end, and design stuff. Again, I'm not saying you need to know all these things to be a tech lead, by no means. Of course, it's nice the more stuff you know, because if you know some technologies that maybe a lot of students don't know or want to know, then that tells me that you might be a really, really valuable tech lead to have on the team, because we can run some really cool events on some technologies, languages, and platforms that many students haven't even touched before. Next is non-technical, which is event coordinator, marketing lead, and partnerships lead. Again, under it'll tell you pretty much what they do, but the event coordinator is basically kind of going to be the person to help make sure that the events run smoothly. Marketing leads is going to help grow awareness of the club, really help me in Discord, managing our communication channels, and also our social media, which is a big part of it. Then our partnership lead, which is really going to be focused on collaboration. So collaborating with other UCF clubs or other DSCs that are at other universities, because kind of what I was saying in the first info session, collaborating with other DSCs is going to be a big part of what our club does moving forward. Good question. How many tech leads can there be in the club? Good question. I actually did not write that down in my notes. Okay, so for all of the positions, I'm actually not putting a maximum or a cap on them because my experience in my previous club is some positions you don't get as many people to apply as you thought. So I'm not really going to say, oh, there's a set number per each position. I think the more tech leads, the better. If I were to kind of guess a number, the sweet spot might be like somewhere between 6 and 10. It just kind of depends on how many people apply and what the applications look like. You can kind of see for each position I put an S, which basically means there can be multiple. So like when I said co-lead is pretty much vice president, usually if there's only one vice president of a club, but I put an S because there's a high possibility that I might have maybe 2 or even 3 co-leads. So I'm kind of leaving that open for flexible purposes and just to kind of see what people are applying to more. And that goes for all of them: project leads, tech leads, event coordinators, marketing leads, and partnership leads. Especially marketing leads. I'm hoping we get some more people to apply for marketing leads because I don't see a lot of these positions just being one person. It's nice when you have multiple because you can spread the load and it's a lot more manageable to get things done. So I can't really give a concrete number, but probably somewhere between 6 and 10. for tech leads, especially because they play a huge role in the success of our events. Okay, with that said, I'm actually going to switch back to the presentation. How do I apply? I didn't even make a slide about this because I did talk about this before, but I'm going to go ahead and show you. All right, if you go to our website and then go to core team application, it'll take you to a Google form that looks like this. Basically, you put your info in, which is your email, your first, last name, what year you are. Some people are getting tripped up on this question. Are you a dual enrolled student? Or if you're dual enrolled, say yes. If you're not, say no. And then will you be an enrolled student at Valencia or UCF during the fall 2020 semester? So this semester that we're in right now, are you enrolled at either Valencia or UCF? If you are, say yes, and then you can continue. Something to keep in mind, to be eligible to be in the core team, you have to be enrolled at Valencia or UCF. So if you're not, unfortunately, you cannot be on the core team. So if you say no to this question, and that's the truth, you're not going to be able to fill out the rest of the form. It will just go ahead and end it right there. So in this case, hopefully those who are watching and are interested, you're enrolled at UCF or Valencia, you can click yes, then select next, and then it'll ask you which position you're applying for. And the questions are a little bit different for each position. I'm trying to tailor it to make it specific. So yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. It's not hard. It's not that long. It's only a few questions. And then there is a part where you can upload a resume. It does need to be fancy. If you don't have a resume, that's fine. I really just want to see some of the things that you've done in the past. If you have a GitHub, I want to see that. If you're doing a tech lead position, or not. If you want to put your GitHub in and you're not a tech lead, that's fine too. I just want to see what you've done, and that's really what I care about. I just want to see what your experience is. What have you done in the past? That's kind of what I care about. I'm gonna switch back to the slides. Do you have to be any degree requirements for the position or club? Do you have to be a CS major, or all majors welcome? Great question. All majors are welcome in this club. That's something that's really cool about DSC and the program itself. It's open to all majors, and even our events going forward, we don't just want to make them specific to computer science majors. We want to make them welcoming and try to have some events that are kind of creative, that are appealing to people who aren't CS majors as well, because there are a lot of tools in Google Cloud and other platforms that have a lot of use cases outside of computer science, especially in business. That's a huge one, but there's lots of other use cases as well, and that's why we think that there's a lot of value in non-CS majors joining the club. Great question. Okay, this is a big one. How are leads selected? I'm realizing after I made the slide deck, I didn't really answer this question very well, but first I'm going to talk about what the process is, and then I'm going to talk about really how they're selected. So here's the process. You have to apply for a core team position through the Google form that I just showed you by tomorrow before midnight, so 11:59 p.m. You can find the form on our website. I just showed it to you. If you go to dscucf.com, I'm posting that in here again if you guys don't have it. dscucf.com, and then go ahead and apply through the main page. Then after the deadline is done and everyone has applied, I'm going to go ahead and try to set up a time with everyone who applied for just a short casual interview. This is not a job interview. I just want to meet you, get to know you, talk about a little bit of what you've done in the past, kind of see what your personality is, and just talk to you if you have any questions. Because you can still apply and then I can talk to you. And then when I'm talking to you, you decide you don't want to do it, it's fine. There's no pressure. I just want to get to know you, because in this virtual environment, I think it's important that I know the people that are going to be on my core team. And I want to know the people that also aren't on my core team. I want to be able to meet new people. That's the whole point of being in a student club. So we'll do that. And it's not a job interview, so don't take it too seriously. It's casual. Just want to get to know you and talk for a little bit. And then after all the interviews are completed, then I'll go ahead and finalize the core team selections and we'll announce it through Discord. And then our core team will be set in stone. And we can start talking about organizing events, making some plans going forward for the rest of the semester, and also talk about events for the spring and hopefully getting students prepared to participate in the solution challenge if that's something that they want to do. Okay. This is the last slide in my slide deck, but I also wrote down some Q&A stuff. Some things that I've heard before from people in our Discord and from other DSCs. I'm going to go ahead and go through those real quick. I'm going to go ahead and just take this slide deck off so you can actually see me. Some people ask, what happens if I get into a core team role and then something comes up, life happens, and I cannot commit any time. I can't commit any time to the role anymore. What happens? That's okay. I get it. Things happen. That's life. If something comes up, if maybe spring semester happens and then you're taking more classes, it's really overwhelming, you can't handle it anymore, you have to kind of cut back, that's cool. I get it. We should just have a conversation. And what we'll probably do is if you decide you can't commit any time to it anymore is that's fine. You can leave that role. No hard feelings. You can still stay in the club, of course. And we'll probably see if there's anyone else in the club who's interested in filling the empty spot. And we'll just kind of move forward that way. Like I said, not a bad thing at all. I get it. And I appreciate the honesty there for sure. Another one is I don't have much experience in any of these roles, but I want to get involved in the core team. What should I do? Okay, this is a good one. I really value motivation and intent. And what do I mean by that? If you really want to be involved in the core team and you feel that you're really cut out for a certain role in the core team, go ahead and apply for it. I don't care if you've never been in a club. I don't care if you're a freshman. I don't care if this is your first time in a club of any kind or you've never done a role like this before. It's okay. Just apply. Because if you think that this is something that you want to do and it's something you feel like you're fit for, then I will probably see the same thing. Something that I learned and noticed from being the president at FAU is that usually the people who aren't as skilled in certain topics, specifically the tech leads, this happens a lot. Usually the people who are less skilled and qualified, like they know like only 2 coding languages compared to some people who know a ton and they have a ton of experience, they have a ton of job experience. Those people who don't know as much and are more motivated and they really care about the mission of the club tend to be more involved and they do more and they work harder and they enjoy it more. So those are the valuable people that I want to have on my team. I don't necessarily want the people who know like 17 different coding languages, but they have 0 time to put into the club, because then it kind of defeats the purpose of being a tech lead. So yeah, I definitely want to touch on that real quick. Another one is I want to be on the core team, but I'm a full-time student. I work and I have other extra commitments. What should I do? Good one, because I'm a full-time student. I work, and of course, I have extra commitments. So I get that. I feel that on a spiritual level. I think you should probably just kind of look at your schedule, kind of like consider your commitments, and then think about, hey, do I just have enough room on my plate to put something else right now? And if you think it's a no, or you're kind of hesitating about it, then maybe not. But that doesn't mean that you can't still be in the club and help out. That you can still do that, of course. But let me kind of go into another topic now that we're kind of talking about time commitment a little bit more. Like, if you get on the core team, what does the time commitment even look like? So, like I was saying before about events, we try to have 1 event per month. It could be a cloud study jam, which is basically an event that's surrounded around Google Quick Labs. Or we can have a workshop on a certain topic that people want to learn. We could have a speaker session. We could bring in a Google expert or just a professional in the field who is well versed in a certain topic that we want to learn about. We could have someone come in and do an event too. Basically, I just want to have one thing a month, and I think it's pretty easy to manage with a really solid core team to help me out. So it's not terrible to manage one thing a month. Now, outside of really preparing and managing events once a month, what other kind of commitments are there? So the way I want to do it is I want to have one meeting per week, but it's a Scrum meeting style. So if you don't know what that is, basically, we're going to have one meeting per week, and it's only going to be 20 minutes. And the way Scrum works is basically I'll start off the meeting, and all we do is we go around and we say what we're working on, what kind of like what you completed, what you're working on, and if there's anything that you need help with. And then that helps me because I know, hey, I know what's getting done, I know what's being worked on, and if someone needs help and it's something that they need help from me or another person, then I know how to facilitate getting those things done. And it should not be longer than 20 minutes. That's the entire purpose of Scrum meetings. If you've never done one, they actually started with like companies that develop apps and stuff like that. They have like a quick meeting in the morning. It's just a Scrum meeting. They go around in a circle with everybody, and they just go. That's all they do. Hey, I did this yesterday. I'm working on this presentation today, and I need help because there's some pictures that I need to put in the presentation, but I don't have access to it on the share drive right now. That tells me, okay, Sally's working on this presentation and she needs some graphics. I can get her access to that, and I put it down on my list. That's it. Outside of that, I want to have one long form meeting per month. So we do a one Scrum meeting a week, which we'll figure out what time that is. Once we fill the positions, we can kind of survey everyone to see what a good time is. That works for hopefully everybody. Then have one long form meeting a month. So we have a longer meeting to discuss ideas, talk about event ideas, do some detailed planning, and kind of assess our our rolling calendar moving forward. Outside of that, we're going to have one general body meeting per month. So the general body meeting is a meeting for all club members. So the purpose of the general body meeting is to keep everybody updated, so they kind of know what to expect coming up. If they have any questions, people can ask questions at the end, but really it's just to keep everybody informed. That's the whole purpose of it. So we'll have one general body meeting per month. And I don't really see this as much of a commitment for the core team because it's really just we're really just telling them, hey, this is what's happening behind the scenes, and these are some of the events that are coming up that you should look forward to. So yeah, and I will send more information about meeting schedules and general body meetings and stuff in the Discord once the core team is kind of all settled and selected. Another question that I've heard been asked before is, I'm just a freshman. Should I even bother applying? It's a really good question. Of course you should bother. Of course you should bother applying, because if you are motivated and you want to get in the club, usually as a freshman you have a lot more time than juniors and seniors. So that's helpful. That's important because that usually means that you can get more stuff done than us juniors and seniors can get done, and that's super helpful. But also, having that drive and the passion to kind of learn more is also really important, and that's really what I'm looking for. Is someone, even if you don't have a lot of experience in a role like this, at least you have the passion and the drive to say, hey, I'm going to learn more. I'm going to get better at this. And I want to stay involved. I believe in this club and what we're doing, and I want to make it better. That's what I care about. That's like the most important thing that I'm looking for here. So yeah, of course, if you're a freshman, if this is your first semester at UCF, you're just a freshman, apply, go for it if it's something you want to do. I'd be 100% cool with having freshmen on the core team. It's not a problem at all. And just a quick story, probably one of the best core team members that I had at FAU, who he has put in hours that I never even asked him to. His name is Ben. He might even be watching this right now. I don't even know. He is super dedicated, tech lead. When he applied, I didn't really see him as like one of the top people that applied in terms of his knowledge, but he's so committed that he learns stuff super quickly, and he helped me with stuff that I never even asked him to do. He's saved my butt a ton of times. He's made sure that some of these workshops have gone really smoothly, and he is a dual enrollment student who's 16 years old. So he's not even technically a college freshman age. So having that is super important. So even to say that, if you're not even a freshman age and you're a dual enrollment student at Valencia and you want to get involved, you want to become a core team member, go for it. Let's do it. I'd be happy to have you on board. Are we going to interact with the community? I saw on the DSE page that some DSE teams did a cool project that helped the community. This is a really, really, really good question. So first part is, are we going to interact with the community? Yes. I understand it's kind of hard right now due to the pandemic to physically interact with the community, but there are other ways to interact with the community. In terms of doing a project for the community, that's kind of where the solution challenge comes in. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a brief overview of what the solution challenge is, a brief overview, because I did kind of go over it at the info session, but that's okay if you missed it. The solution challenge is basically a global competition that Google hosts each year. And what it is you and 4 other people, I think it's 4. I'm blanking out. I'm pretty sure. So a total of 5 people, I believe. I'll double check and I'll get the info. Your team comes together and you identify a problem in the community. It can be your local community, it could be at your school, it could be at the state level, or it could be some problem that the entire country is facing. It just really has to be a problem. It could be a problem that a nonprofit has, a problem that a company has. If it's a problem and you and your team identifies it as a problem, then you can solve it. And the whole competition is you're going to solve that problem using at least one Google technology or platform. So it could be using let's say compute engine on Google on GCP. That could be one, or you're using like virtual private cloud or something like that, or you're using machine learning or something. As long as it's like one product by Google, you could use the rest on AWS if you want to. As long as you're integrating something from Google into the project, then you're satisfying that requirement. And then the sky's the limit. You and your team members can come together and figure out what you want to do to solve that problem. You all work on it together. Flutter, oh, great example. Love Flutter. Yes, good example with Flutter. Flutter could be the Google product that you use. Firebase could, whatever you want. And then you come up with your solution. You come up with a plan, figure out how to divvy up the work between your teammates in the most effective way, and then work on it, make it happen, make it a reality. And then you're going to submit the project to Google, and then they come up with a list of regional winners, which this year they came up with 10 at different regions across the globe. And yeah, it's super fun. I didn't personally participate in it last year because this whole program actually kind of got started really, really late in 2019. And it was kind of it was kind of a struggle to, excuse me, it was kind of a struggle to get started helping students with the solution challenge, plus the fact that the pandemic hit early in 2020. So it was definitely not something that was easy to do. But I think now that we're all a little bit more comfortable with the virtual worlds and virtual learning environment, I think it's going to be a lot easier to get that done. And of course, having a nice core team to assist me and support me and the club is going to be a really big part of that as well. So yeah, the solution challenge is awesome. And yeah, you're probably going to see a lot about other DSCs building some really cool projects to help people in the community, whether it's problems on campus, it could be a health issue, it could be a social issue that can be solved through technology, or it could be, yeah, it could be creating an app, a web app. It could be something that involves physical stuff. If it's like, I can't really think of a good example right now, but uh, let's say you build like a Raspberry Pi camera thing that uh, recognizes license plates using machine learning and then uses that as a way to find people who are kidnapped in Amber Alerts faster. So like basically like a crowdsourced dash cam type of thing that puts together crowdsourced information to help find victims of kidnappings and human trafficking through Amber Alerts. That'd be cool. That sounds like a really cool project, and you can integrate a lot of things into that. And that has a software part and a hardware part. So yeah, of course you can do that. This is not just building an app and then submitting it. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to mention, because a lot of people ask this question about the solution challenge, is does Google have ownership of my project when I'm done? No, they don't have ownership of your stuff when you're done. You completely own the stuff when you're done. This is not something where like, oh, because you're submitting it to a competition, Google is like now owns like the IP of your project. No, that's not how it works. It's yours and your team's. So yeah, it's a really, really, really cool thing that I definitely want to participate in personally this year, and I'd love for the club to go all in and get as many people who want to do it as possible. Yes, that's a really, really good question. I'm trying to see if there's anything else on my list, and I don't think there is. I'm going to try to think if there's any other questions specific to the core team that I can think of. But in the meantime, if anyone has any questions about the core team or any of the positions, or maybe it doesn't have to be about the core team, we can go ahead and use this time to answer any of those. On my clock, we've only been live for 32 minutes ish, so we're definitely ahead of schedule. If you have any other questions, go ahead and drop them in. I'll go ahead and take a look. I'm gonna take a sip of water because I almost cannot talk anymore. I'm trying to think of a couple other things that I wanted to say off the top of my head. Soon we're going to have the, let me see where I can find it. The All Florida Clubs channel will be up and running pretty soon. And what that is it's a Discord channel that connects all of the developer student clubs across all the universities in Florida, which I'm probably going to miss one, so I apologize for anyone. I think it's the University of Miami, FIU, FAU, USF, of course UCF, FSU, Tallahassee Community College, UF, and I think that's it. I think there might be one I'm missing. I feel like I'm missing one. But yes, so all those together in one channel where we can all talk to each other, meet new people, collaborate, and we're probably going to do like a Florida collaboration type of event in the next couple of months, which I'm super excited for. Okay, is this video going to be uploaded? Yeah, all of the YouTube live stuff that we're doing going forward, after it's done, it will just be like a regular video that you can go watch. And I'm also doing another one tomorrow at, I think I said 8 o'clock. Yes. I'm doing another one just like this tomorrow at 8 if you want to kind of hear this again instead of watching the video. Will the team meet in real life? That's a good question. I don't know. I'm probably going to say not anytime soon. I kind of have to do a little bit more research to see what the club protocols are that we have to follow from UCF. I'm thinking no, but if we're forced to just do virtual, which is fine, what we're probably going to do is use Google Meet, which is kind of like Zoom if you've never used it. And it's just like a big room. You can see everyone's faces. You can talk to everybody. And then also, if we just want to like jump on quickly and talk about something as a core team, we can also jump in one of the voice channels on Discord and talk. And I think there's also a way you can do your webcam on Discord. I've never done it. You can share your screen on Discord. I've done that before. I think there's a way where you can use your webcam on Discord as well. But mostly we'll probably just use Google Meet. It's super easy to use. And we'll probably just meet that way, because another thing is, once I have the core team selected, I want the whole core team to meet each other, because it kind of feels impersonal to get the core team and then like I start assigning tasks out to people and then just expect them to work together if they've never met each other. So of course we're going to have an opportunity for all the core team members to jump on a Google Meet, to meet each other, to break the ice, and to get like a actual teamwork factor going. That's definitely important. And I also want to do the same thing for the entire club. That's what I was saying. Some of the events I want to just be pure social, not technical all the time. So I want to have some types of events where it can just be relaxed, social, a way for people to meet each other. Another Discord that I'm in for another DSC, they're doing Among Us game nights where everyone comes together into a Discord voice chat and they play Among Us with each other. I've only played Among Us a little bit, but it seems kind of fun. Or there's another one where they use, it's like, there's another game that another DSC was doing, and it's kind of fun for everybody. It's just kind of fun to like get to know each other, kind of do something fun that's just purely social. Yeah, so we'll definitely, that's definitely something that we'll be doing pretty soon. So yeah, so at this time in the near future, probably not meeting each other in person, but we're gonna make the best of it. If anyone has any other questions, go ahead and drop them. Something I'll mention is if you have any trouble with the Google form to apply for the core team, please let me know so I can make a change if there's a problem with it. Let me go ahead and take a look at the Google form for the core team real quick and see if there's anything that I want to add in terms of context. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, where can I formally apply for an officer leadership position? So, like I was saying, like so I call it the core team, which is it's the same thing as an officer, a part of the leadership team. We just call it the core team and the developer student club. So you can go to our website. If you just go to DSC UCF. There we go. If you just go to the website right there that I just dropped in, it'll take you to the website, and it looks like this. It's okay, you're good. I just want to make sure that there was no confusion, because I actually said leadership team in the Discord and some people got confused. They thought it was a different thing. It's actually the same. So we just call it the core team. It's the same thing though. So if you go to the website, it looks just like this. And then you go to here. I'm gonna make this bigger so you guys can see. If you go to core team application right here, where my mouse is hovering over, you click it, it actually will just go ahead and open up a Google form, just like this. First, there's the eligibility verification, like I was saying earlier. So name, last name, what year are you? Are you dual enrolled? You can say yes or no. And then will you be an enrolled student at Valencia or UCF during the fall 2020 semester? So this semester that we're in right now. Then select yes. If yes, then you can continue. If you're not enrolled for the fall 2020, then unfortunately you cannot be on the core team. So make sure if you're enrolled, go ahead, click yes, and then you can click next. And then you can select which position you want to apply for on the next page. I'm going to go ahead and remove my screen. What is your reason of joining the team? If you're talking to me specifically, I can definitely answer that question. So I got started with the Developer Student Club last fall, so 2019. Google had just started the program in North America. The program had been established in 2017 in India. That was the first place where they started the program. And then they came to North America in 2019. That was the first year. And we started with 120 clubs across North America. So that's US and Canada. And I got started with FAU. And the way I got involved was someone reached out to me on LinkedIn who was part of the program at Google. He was a Googler, and he was actually at our info session. That was Danny. Danny reached out to me. I applied, and then kind of like the rest is history. I mean, I started the club up at FAU. The club now has over 200 members at FAU. I think like almost close to 300 now. We ran a bunch of events there, super fun, and that's kind of how I got involved. Then during COVID, I decided I want to come back home, so I came home to Orlando, and I decided to also transfer to UCF. So now I'm here, and I'm loving it so far. I wish we were on campus because I want to see all your amazing faces, and not having that in-person interaction definitely sucks. But let's make the best of this virtual environment. There's a lot of perks to it for flexibility purposes. So that's my reason. What is your reason for joining? I don't know. You can probably answer that yourself. I think on some of them I asked, actually on some of the positions I actually asked, why are you interested in joining? I think, or what inspired you to join or get involved. So yeah, just answer that question truthfully. If it's like, hey, the topics sound awesome, I want to get involved, that's fine. Just be truthful. Whatever really just kind of like grabbed your attention. I just want to get to know that. That'd be cool. Can you be a part of the club after you graduate? Yes, you can be a part of the club after you graduate. So this is actually kind of interesting. So Google actually kind of had a change of heart with the entire program when COVID hit. When in the beginning they said the entire club is locked to students only. Dual enrollment students can't be a part of it. People who are already alumni can't be part of it. It's only for people who are currently college students. That's what they said at first. And then COVID hit, and they decided they didn't want people to be closed off anymore. They wanted people, and they wanted clubs to collaborate more. They wanted to bring the youngsters in, youngsters meaning the dual enrollment students who are probably still in high school. They wanted us to collaborate with other clubs. They wanted us to collaborate with each other DSCs, I mean. They wanted us to collaborate with professional organizations. So they definitely opened it up and made it available to kind of everybody. So yeah, after you graduate, you can still be involved in the club. You can still attend our virtual events. And maybe one day, sometime soon, in-person events. Hopefully, crossing our fingers, sometime we can do that. So yes, you can still be involved in the club after you graduate, but to be a part of the core team, you have to be an active student. And you can be a graduate student, like a master's student, as long as you're an active student. You can be on the core team. But after you're an alum, when you graduate, you can't be on the core team, but yeah, you can still be involved, of course. And we actually encourage that, because getting people who already graduated to come back and maybe speak, to talk to students about, or talk to our members and students to share their experience post academic life. That's super valuable. Is it a bad thing if I have not had any leadership experience in previous clubs? I have strong communication and leadership skills developed from a summer camp coordinator experience. It is definitely not a bad thing if you do not have any previous experience in clubs, because last fall was technically the first time that I ever had a leadership position in a club. I've had leadership positions in other places. I was actually a Boy Scout for a long time, and I'm actually an Eagle Scout. So I had a lot of leadership experience there, because if you don't know, Boy Scouts has like a leadership structure, and there's leadership positions you can fill. And so I had a lot of experience in that. I also volunteered for a nonprofit organization called the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. I volunteered for them for almost 3 years and had a couple leadership positions with them. So yeah, I mean, just because you haven't had a leadership position doesn't mean you don't have leadership abilities. So yeah, if you're a strong communicator and you possess those leadership skills, from being a summer camp coordinator, that's cool. I think that would make you a pretty strong fit for, especially like a logistical position, maybe. Or maybe if you want to put your leadership skills and your technical skills together and be a tech lead, that sounds good too. Whatever is something that you feel is going to be interesting to you and something you feel you are going to be a fit for, go ahead and apply. Then we'll just go from there, for sure. What is my favorite Google technology? That's a tough one. Okay, so okay, I built a Firebase web app like 6 months ago. That's no longer being in use. I had an internship for a year, and I actually built a Firebase web app for them as a temporary solution while they were working on something else. They were able to use it for a little bit of time. Firebase is so easy to use. It's so easy to use. I mean, you just need to know a little bit of JavaScript, and you can watch a couple of YouTube tutorials on how Firebase works. It's super fun. I honestly don't have a ton of experience with Flutter, except for a couple events that we ran at FAU, which were super successful and super fun. But Flutter is definitely very intriguing. Probably my all-time favorite product, though, is probably Compute, because you can spin up a virtual machine on infrastructure that's not your own in a matter of a couple of minutes, with whatever specs you want. You could pretty much run like, I think like 128 core processor, like up to like a few terabytes of memory, a ton of storage, up to like 640 terabytes of storage per virtual machine, running pretty much any operating system you want. It's crazy. It's insane. Especially when you don't have that hardware available, and you can run it wherever you want, like all over the globe at any of Google's data centers in a matter of minutes, is crazy. Especially with my focus in cybersecurity, it's really cool to be able to do that. And of course, as a developer, to run servers, databases, whatever you want. It's definitely super, super awesome. That's probably my favorite product by far. Yeah, but I love Firebase. Firebase is amazing. It really is. GCP over AWS. Yeah, I would probably say that. And GCP is really beginner friendly, I would say. I haven't really worked with AWS much because, well, I don't know why. But after getting involved with the Google Club, I've just done so much with GCP. And it's really easy to use. It feels very friendly just to open up the GCP console and see everything in the left-hand sidebar and just have your G-Cloud CLI, just kind of like pull it up, do whatever you want. It seems super easy to use. And also the fact that you can get free access to use GCP through Quick Labs is also crazy. So as we do cloud study jams, you'll get access to Google Cloud and be able to mess around with it. There also might be an opportunity to get some Google Cloud credit that you can mess around with. I don't have a link for that yet, but there will be a way in the future where students who are part of the club can get access to Google Cloud with some like free credit to kind of spend on whatever your heart feels like. Especially when we get closer to the solution challenge, Google usually will give you guys some credit to play around with and use on your project. So GCP over AWS, yeah, I could definitely say that. AWS has some really cool products that GCP doesn't. Namely, probably their AWS recognition. It's basically a facial recognition product that they have that runs on AWS, where you can basically train pretty much machine learning models with using pictures of somebody's face, and then you can actually feed AWS a live video stream, and it can return a confidence score to you on how well your video matches up to the model that you trained. And at this time, GCP doesn't have something like that. Of course, they have other ML stuff and image processing and stuff like that, but not really video stuff to the same level as AWS has. That's probably my favorite product on AWS, and I haven't even messed around with it. I've just done a little bit of research on it. That's a super cool product. And just a side note, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. Or the city of Orlando actually at one point partnered with AWS to run the recognition software on security cameras to better pretty much find criminals that are on the run, kind of, and try to keep people safe. But they tried to do it like 3 times over the past like 10 years, and I guess there was a lot of backlash from the city on privacy concerns and stuff like that, which there's probably some validity to that, especially when it's the government, and you know, you never really exactly know what they're going to do with it. But it's a really cool technology. And yeah, all the AI stuff on GCP, all of the ML stuff on GCP is crazy. And as we start working with Quick Labs and with GCP, you'll definitely see that. And hopefully, when we get into Quick Labs and the Cloud Study Jams, you'll just start working with stuff, and it'll just like spark your interest, and a light bulb will just appear above your head, and you're like, I got an idea for a solution challenge project. There's this problem, and I think that this will solve it. And then that's the whole point. And then now you can go do some more research on your own, and then hopefully you can put that mental prototype into being with your team. And then I'd love to see some people from our DSC win one of the regional contests. That'd be awesome. I think one cool thing in AWS is you can have your dedicated servers for government to use it. Yes, I know that AWS has the AWS GovCloud. I think that might be what you're referring to. And actually, the NSA uses AWS GovCloud for, I don't know how much of their infrastructure, but I know that they use it for at least some of their infrastructure, probably a lot of it now. But I know the main purpose that AWS did that is, one, because they have the GovCloud that's more secure for obvious reasons, and also Amazon got a huge tax break out of it, so it was kind of a mutual thing. Like the NSA got a bunch of AWS infrastructure, and Amazon got a huge tax break out of it. So kind of fun, kind of funny, but it's a win-win for both of them. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to take one more look to see if there's anything else that I should mention. All right, it looks like we got about 3 people left on the stream. So if anyone that's left here has any other questions on anything, on the club, on core team, you just want to ask me a personal question, just go ahead. I don't care. We got about 5 more minutes left, so a little less than 5 minutes. So if you got anything else, or just want to make a comment about GCP or Google or whatever, go ahead and drop it in. I'll be here for another 4 minutes and 10 seconds. When do interviews start? Good question. Like I said, the deadline is tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. So minute before midnight. Interviews will probably begin next week, this coming week. So I'll probably start reaching out to the people who applied on Tuesday and Wednesday, and hopefully try to get some interviews on the calendar. And once all the interviews are done, then we can set it in stone. So yeah, interviews will start sometime this week at the earliest, probably Wednesday or Thursday will probably be the earliest interviews that I have. Okay. GCP is the best. No comments on that. Yes, GCP is the best. I love GCP. There's also Microsoft Azure, but I'm not really a huge fan of Azure. And I have barely used it, so it's kind of bad that I'm even saying that, but the way that they name stuff is just too confusing to me. Blobs and stuff like that. It's just like, come on, just make it, please, just make it easier. How has your experience been? How has your experience with the Developer Student Club so far? Good question. It's been amazing, and I'm not just saying that. It's been fun because I've made a lot of really great relationships with people. I've networked a ton with people. I mean, geez, my LinkedIn has like blown up over the past year. And not just because I'm the lead, just because I'm being a part of a larger community, a global community now. It's crazy. So that's been awesome. The Google team is amazing. Pretty much everyone that I meet who works at Google is very awesome, super supportive, and amazing in every way. Danny is awesome. He's the guy who's at our info session. He is just really cool. Another guy you might see sometime is Madusha. Madusha is kind of the more technical guy. He's one of the program organizers for DSC North America. He is awesome. He's super funny. He's kind of technical, and he's super helpful. And then there's the Cloud Hero team. You might have met the Cloud Hero team if you were at the Cloud Hero event last week or 2 weeks ago. I'm losing track of time. They're cool too. They're awesome. They're really cool people. So yeah, my experience has been awesome. It had, you know, with everything, there's ups and downs, but this has been more up than down, definitely. It's been a big learning experience for me, but the thing that shines brightest is it's been super enjoyable, and I love being a part of it. I believe in the program and the mission, and I want to make this program bigger, and I want to make it bigger at UCF, and I hope you guys do too. So if you're part of the core team, I hope you can help me make this club bigger at UCF because it is super important to me. And hopefully, once we get started with the stuff, it will have the same meaning to you. The Azure, yeah. What's in Azure? Azure is like if I don't know if it's a joke or not, but if it's a real question, Azure is like it's like their cloud computing for Microsoft. So basically, the big three is like AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, GCP, which is the Google Cloud Platform, and then I said AWS, GCP, and then Azure. It was a joke. Okay, just making sure. If it wasn't, I just wanted to answer it. But yeah, and most people call it Azure, or at least some people who don't know, they're like, "Oh yeah, Microsoft Azure." Kind of makes me laugh. It's Azure. It is Azure. Yeah. Just hey, if you bring it up in an interview and you say Azure, now you'll sound, now you know how it's pronounced. So it's Azure, yeah. That's incredible. I realized this year that networking is actually more important than I used to think, because how else are you going to get a chance at organizing future prospects? Yep, you got it. Bingo. Yes, networking is so important. I just got off a phone call with like a really, really awesome cybersecurity professional who works for the NSA, he's a friend of a friend who I like just got in contact with. Oh my gosh, I like absorbed so much information into this brain in 60 minutes. It was incredible. So if you make connections with people, definitely try to build a relationship with them. Whether it's through LinkedIn, whether it's through Discord, if it's at school, if it's in your personal life, oh my gosh, networking is so valuable. Definitely, definitely, definitely. GCP, AWS, Azure. I love how Azure's like super far to the right. Yeah, I think that's probably how it should be. Um, yeah, it, like I said, I really just haven't got started with Azure, but yeah, GCP is just super easy. Oh, and the documentation for Azure sucks. Like, oh my god, they cannot make the documentation for Azure any more freaking confusing. GCP documentation is very detailed. They explain it to you in the simplest way possible. But Azure is like, oh, you want to do something? Go to this article. When you go to that article, it's like, oh, no, you're in the wrong place. Go to this article. And then when you go to that article, it's talking about something that's like something completely different. It's like, here's how to install Windows 7. You're like, but that's not. I was trying to create a virtual machine, and now we're talking about Windows 7. Like, what did it just doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. No hate to Microsoft. No hard feelings, but the documentation is extremely confusing. GCP documentation is awesome. If you just want to learn about something on GCP without even using it, just look up the GCP documentation. It is awesome. You'll learn stuff without even using it. I used AWS for a project before, but I still don't really know too much of its intricacies. Yeah, and that's kind of how you'll be with GCP at first too. You will learn something new every day with it. There is tools upon tools upon tools, because Google has also absorbed organizations that they've pulled into the Google Giant pool. That is now like, some of them are now products on GCP. So there's always something new to learn. There's always something new to learn, especially in computer science in general. I haven't had too much experience with cloud, but I'm definitely open to learn it. Yeah. And hopefully, some of you, as you get more practice with Google Cloud, you'll maybe be interested in doing the Google Cloud Associate certification. I think I might have completely butchered the name of that. I think that's what it's called, the Google Cloud Associate certification, which is really something that's cool to add to your resume and your LinkedIn. So we'll try to start working towards that as well once we start up our events. And then GCP has this like mini tutorial, which is super cool. Yes, it is. GCP they have a lot. There's a lot of tutorials. Google does a great job with video tutorials as well. Firebase tutorials, there's a lot of good ones on how it works and stuff like that too. So yeah, there's so many resources with Google. It is insane. I've learned a ton in the past year, and there's still a lot more to learn. So yeah, I think we're just a couple minutes past the hour. That's fine. We'll probably go ahead and wrap it up here. It was nice talking to everybody. If you're interested, go ahead and apply for the core team. Don't be intimidated. Just go ahead and do it. And yeah, I hope to see your application and hope to meet you all in an interview, or through an event, or through one of our social events on Discord that are coming up soon. And yeah, for now, I think that's pretty much it. So for the next 5 or 10 seconds, I'm just going to awkwardly wave goodbye, just like this, and say thank you for coming. All right, I'll see you guys later.